Hey students, welcome to SkillCortex AI. In this video, let's learn how to build a proper resume. But before that, I want to tell you the main reason that made us to make this video. So whenever we update some job alerts in our WhatsApp community, Instagram and other platforms, we'll be receiving plenty of resumes from students to apply for the job. Now, I'll tell you one thing that may hurt you. 99% of the resumes that we get will struggle to get a job. So before you get too aggressive on me, please try to understand what I'm trying to say. So 99% of the resumes that we get will not be in proper format. It doesn't grab interviewers' attention. And mainly, they just look like a piece of paper. It doesn't look like a resume. So it's not your mistake because you don't have any knowledge in building that resumes, because our universities and colleges have never cared of teaching that kind of useful stuff for us. Okay, so in this video, I'll tell you how to build a proper resume to crack a job. So every second of this video is important and make sure you doesn't skip anywhere. Okay, it's gonna be a big video and a useful video. So for more informative videos like this, make sure you subscribe to SkillCortex AI and hit that bell icon. So before starting the video, what is a resume? What is a resume? A resume is a concise document that contains the summary of individual's education, skills, experiences, and accomplishments for job applications. Okay, remember, your resume is not just a piece of paper. And there's one more important point to be remembered. So, there is no proper or certified way to build a resume. We can tweak our resume as we want. But in this video, I'll tell you one proper format for both experienced persons and for fresher person. Okay, so I'll be telling you the proper way to build their resumes. So now let's start our video. So before we build a resume, there are some points to be remembered. The first point is, whenever you apply for a job, there will be hundreds of thousands of people applying for the same job role. So interviewers will be getting thousands of resumes every day. Okay, so interviewers will hardly have 6 to 7 seconds of time to look at your resume. In these 6 to 7 seconds of time, we have to attract interviewers' attention. Okay, our resume should be more attractive and more professional to grab interviewers' attention. And we have only 6 to 7 seconds of time. I'll tell you how to build that kind of resume in this video. The second point is, the resume should not be very long. Resume should not be very long. It should be maximum of 1 page. And if you have more information to put in your resume, then it can be maximum of 1.5 page. Beyond that, it's not a good way to write a resume. And the third point is, your resume should be short, crisp, and it has to be on point. It should be just like their advertisement. Okay, it should not be big, and it should be very short, and it has to be on point. The next point is, you should not mention any useless stuff in your resume. So to make your resume big, you should not mention any useless stuff in your resume. This makes your resume very bad. Okay. The next point is, whatever you mention in your resume, it should be useful for interviewers. Okay. So whatever the hobby that you mention, whatever the skill you mention, whatever the achievements you mention, whatever the societies you mention, everything should be useful for interviewers, and we should not post any useless stuff in your resume. And the most important thing, you should never lie in your resume. Lying in the resume will be a very bad impact on you. Okay, you should never lie in your resume and always be honest. Never ever lie in your resume. And there's one more point, and it's also important. There should be no spelling and grammatical mistakes in our resumes. This makes our resume very unprofessional. So there should be no spelling and grammatical mistakes in our resume. So these are some of the points to be remembered before we start building a resume. Okay, now I want to tell you one thing. The good resume will have good skills, good projects, and a good experience in it. So if you don't have any skills, any experience, and even if you have low marks, then you will be very sad to hear this. Your resume is not good. So try to learn some skills and try to build some projects based upon the skills that you have learned. This will gain you experience, which increases your resume weightage. So if you don't know what skill you have to learn, if you're not confident of getting a job, if you don't know what projects that you can build with the skills you have, you can register with us for a free guidance session so that we will guide you what to do. So this will be a very useful opportunity for you, and that too for free. So scan this QR code, or there will be a link in the description. So you can register with us from there, and we'll be very happy to help you. So now, before we start to build a resume, there are a few questions that students have asked us, and we have filtered some top 5 questions. So now I'll just say you the questions, and next I will say you the answers while we build a resume. Okay. The first question is, what are the fonts that make our resume more professional? The second question is, what colors can be used for a resume? Third one, what is the better way to represent our information? Is it a paragraph type or is it a bullet points? The next one is, how many pages should resumes be? I think I have given an answer for this question. And the fifth question is, how to represent our education, skills, and achievements in resume. So these are the top 5 most questions that many students have asked us, and I'll try to answer all of the questions while we build a resume. So now, let me tell you some precautions to take care of while we building a resume. The first one is that resume should be neat, simple, and easy to understand. So for that, you should not use some messy color combinations. You should not make your resume look more fancy. And the third one is, you should use just simple vocabulary to make interviewers easily understand what you are trying to say in your resume. Okay, so your resume should be neat, simple, and easy to understand. So this is the first precaution. The second one is, as I have said earlier, the resume should not be big. The resume can be maximum of 1 page, and if you have more information to put in your resume, then it can be the maximum of 1.5 page. But I recommend you to build your resume in just 1 page. And the third precaution is, your resume should be very short. It should be short, crisp, and it has to be on point. The next main important precaution is using buzzwords. We should not use any kind of buzzwords like hard, hardworking, and sincere. These kinds of buzzwords we should not use in our resume. So these make our resume a very ordinary one. To build a special resume, avoid using these kind of buzzwords. Next precaution is, try to write as much as technical information in your resume. So if you have many technologies that you have learned, so please write all of them in your resume, and try to write as much as the information related to technologies in your resume. And the next point, as we have a question, right, what colors can be used while we are building a resume? So the answer for this question is, use simple colors but professional colors while you build a resume. Some example for that is black and blue. So we can use blue and black colors to make our resume more simple and more professional. And we have one more question. What are the fonts that we can use? So the answer for that is, Arial and Calibri fonts will be more professional and they will be very easy to read. Okay, I recommend you using this Arial and Calibri kind of fonts, and you can use some other fonts too, but the font should look more professional. And now I'll tell you the last 2 very important points. The first one is, whenever you export a resume, it should be in the PDF file format. The resume should be in a PDF file format. It should not be in some document type of file format and all. It should always be in PDF file format. Okay. And the next important point and the last precaution that we have to take is, there should be no complex tables or unnecessary pictures in our resume. The reason is, many software companies and many other companies will also have some softwares to filter out these resumes. So these softwares cannot read the information in tables. So your resume will be rejected. So to avoid this, make sure you don't use complex tables, pictures in your resume, and even your photo. Okay, so make it simple and use bullet points if you want, but don't use some complex tables and unnecessary pictures in your resume. So here we have learned about all the important points, and now let's start building a resume. So now I have prepared a demo resume for you yesterday. So this resume is of a candidate called as John Smith. So he doesn't exist on this world. So it's just for demo purpose. So I made this resume. And now I would like to tell you something. While we build a resume, there will be 2 formats. The first one is horizontal format. So in these formats, we will be writing all the information horizontally. Okay. And in column format, we will be dividing the resume into parts, and then we will be representing our information. Okay. So these are the 2 different types of formats that we can use while we build a resume. So now let's try to build a resume also. So I'll explain about this resume. So what are all the sections that we have to place in our resume for experienced person and as well as fresher profile. So you can see here I have made two resumes. So this resume is for experienced and this is for fresher. Okay. So now in this resume we will be having two parts, which is nothing but the first part is header and the second part is regarding the sections. So we can add multiple sections in the second half. Okay. So up to here, up to this part, it is called as header. Okay, up to this part, it is called as header. So here we have to give our name and we have to give our contact information. So here the candidate name is John Smith. And below the John Smith name, you can see that I have used three words. They are innovator, mentor, and quick learner. So why I have used these three words? So if we use these words or else some phrases, it will be more professional. And these words or phrases that you use, they have to tell about the character. Okay, so these three words define the character of John Smith. Okay, so we have to mention the words and phrases that are relatable to the candidate. Okay, and here I have given the contact information of the candidate. Okay, so first I have given his phone number, and then I have given his email ID, and then I have given his LinkedIn ID. So in this video, I am taking the example of applying for an IT job. So if you are a marketing student, you can give your social media pages that you have handled. Okay, so in IT field, it is better to use LinkedIn, right? So many people will be using LinkedIn. So I have given LinkedIn profile. And if you don't have LinkedIn profile, try to create one. If you don't know how to create LinkedIn profile and how to maintain your LinkedIn profile, then comment under this video and we'll try to make a video on maintaining a proper LinkedIn profile. Okay, so remember that. And about this email, so don't give unprofessional email IDs in your resume. Create an email ID with your full name and place it in your resume. Don't use unprofessional email IDs like some dadlittleprincess@gmail.com. So don't use this kind of email IDs in your resume. Use professional email IDs. If you don't have, create one with your full name and place it in your resume. So this is regarding the header, and you can also place your Git links also here in the contact information, so that if interviewers want, then he can access it. Okay, so this is regarding the header part. And now let's come into the second part of the resume. In the second part, we will be having different kinds of sections. The main 5 important sections are education, skills, experiences, projects, and achievements or certifications. So these 5 sections are very, very, very important, and I will recommend you to place these 5 sections inside your resume. And I would like to tell you one more thing. There is no perfect way to create a resume, or else there is no certified way to create a resume. So you can tweak your resume as you want. But in this video, I'll just tell you the proper way to create a resume so that you can crack a job. Okay, so the 5 sections are education, skills, experience, projects, and achievements or certifications. I will use these 5 sections in my experienced person profile resume. And if you are a fresher and if you don't have any experience, then you can skip this experience section and you can place your education section at the first. But if you are an experienced person, then you can write your experience section in the first of your resume. Okay, so now coming to this experience section, I will explain you what to write inside it and how to represent our information inside this section. So in this experience section, you can mention about your projects, internship, previous work experiences, some hackathons, and if you have done any freelancing, you can write about your work in this experience section. In this experience section, there's no need of writing only previous job experiences. Many people will be thinking that we can only write only our previous job experiences. No need of writing only previous job experiences. You can write about some internships that you have done, about your projects, about your hackathons, or else if you have done any freelancing, you can write about them. If you have an open source, then you can write about that. So whatever the things that have given you some experience, you can mention about them in your experience section. And there is a proper format to define this experience section. So here you can see John Smith has been working as senior software engineer in a company called as TechSolve from March 2020 to present. So whenever we define our information in experience or education section, we have to follow reverse chronological order, which is nothing but from the recent one to the old one. Like it's like some descending order, okay, from big one to small one. So from recent one to old one. Okay, so first he has given about his recent experience. So he was working as senior software engineer in TechSolve company and in a place called San Francisco. So designation, company name, and then place of working. And below that, if you can see here, he has given his working period. So he has been working as a senior software engineer in TechSolve company from March 2020 to present, which is nothing but May 2024. Okay, and below that, he had written 3 bullet points of what he had done in that work experience, or else what he have learned, what he have contributed. So please write 3 to 4 lines of information or description saying what you have done in that particular job role. And if you have some space, write them in bullet points. So this will attract interviewers' attention. Okay. So you can see here, he is saying that he has led a team of developers, and he had mentioned 3 important points that he have done while he was working as senior software engineer in TechSolve. Okay, and if you have some space, also use the technologies that you have learned or used in that experience, like some Node.js, React.js, and all. So mention all the technologies that you have learned or that you have worked on below that experience tab. So this will definitely grab interviewers' attention. So this is regarding the first experience, and in the second experience, you can see here, it's also in the same format. And you can see here, he mentioned the technologies that he have used while he was working as software developer in the TechSolve company. So mention the technologies or tools that you have learned or that you have used while you are working in your experience. Okay. So this is regarding the experience section, and the format is designation, company name, and place. Okay. So this is regarding the experience section. And then the next comes education section. So this is an experience profile, right? So I have kept the experience section first. If you are a fresher and if you don't have any experience, you can skip this experience and you can keep your education first. And then if you have many great achievements, then you can place them in the top. There is no proper order to follow all these sections. See here also, he has followed reverse chronological order from recent one to older one. So first he has mentioned about his graduation, which is nothing but he has done computer science engineering in Tech University and Silicon Valley. So he mentioned about his branch name, and he mentioned about his university name, and he mentioned about the place. Okay, and then below that, he mentioned about his graduation period, which is nothing but August 2015 to May 2019. And then below that, he has given the CGPA that he has achieved in that graduation period. And if you don't have any good marks in your academics, then you can skip this one. But if your company is focusing upon your marks, then it will be better to place your marks in your resume. Okay, if you don't have proper marks, then you can skip. So below that, he mentioned about his 12th grade, in which he has studied in Valley High School in Silicon Valley. So he mentioned his study period also. And below that, he mentioned the marks or percentage that he has achieved. So this is regarding his education. So the next one is projects section. So inside this project section, you can mention the academic projects and as well as non-academic projects that you have built. Okay. If you don't have any projects, then you can skip this one too. And if you are applying for any internship, then make sure we have at least 2 projects in your resume. And if you are applying for any campus placements or any jobs, then make sure you have at least 2 to 3 projects in your resume, because this will improve weightage of your resume. Okay, so make sure you have built some projects with the skills that you have learned. Okay, so here you can see, here it is just some information, but I don't recommend you using this kind of information. So mention your project name and write a short description about your project, and then mention the tools and technologies that you have used inside that project. I'll mention you the format, and there will be a demo resume in the description, so you can use that resume for your reference and you can build your resume. So whenever you write about a project, mention that project name, tell some points about the project, and mention the tools and technologies that you have used to develop that project. Okay, so mention at least 2 to 3 projects to gain your resume weightage. So this is regarding the project section. And if you don't have any projects, then you can easily skip this one. Now let's come into the skills section, and also it's a very important one. So inside the skills section, mention all the skills that you have learned. Okay, mention all the skills that you have learned in your college or in any other platforms like SkillCortex AI. So it's the perfect time to showcase your skills in your resume. So mention all the skills. So if you are an engineering student, you can mention some of the skills like C programming, Python, Java, Munstacks, data science, machine learning, and all. So place some good skills in your skills section. And if you don't have any skills, you can write your subjects like academic subjects in this section too. Like for engineering students, there will be DBMS subject, right? So you can write about that in your skills section. Okay, but make sure you have proper skills when you are applying for a job, and mention the skills that are relevant to the job role. So if you're applying for any job role, there will be some requirements, some required skill set. So make sure you have relevant skills in your resume that are required for that job. Okay. Now, if you don't have any skills, try to learn as early as possible. Okay, and we are here to help you. So if you are interested to learn any skill, then you can register with us with the QR code, or else there is a link in description for registration in the course also. Then you can register there. Now, this is regarding the skills section. So in the skills section, make sure you have relevant skills when you are applying for a job role, and maintain this skill section in a professional way because it is very important section. So this is regarding the skills section. So coming to awards or certification section. So here you can write about all the certifications that you have received from the courses. So if you have done any courses in any education platforms like SkillCortex AI, then you can write those certificate in your resume, which increases your resume weightage. The certificates are very important, so you can place them here and increase your resume weightage. Here you can see this John Smith has mentioned about his data science certification from SkillCortex AI. So like that, you can give any certificates that you have in your awards or certifications. And if you don't have any certificates, but you have scored some top marks in some competitive exams, or else you stood first in your college hackathons, then about all those things also you can mention inside your awards or certifications section. If you don't have anything, you can skip this. And the next one is hobbies. So hobby is an additional section. So these 5 sections are very important. So after these 5 sections, if you have space left in your resume, you can use some additional sections like hobbies. Okay, so inside these hobbies, I mentioned 3 hobbies. They are nothing but hiking, photography, and cooking. So I would like to tell you one important point here. So whenever you mention any hobby of yours in a resume, make sure they are true. Don't ever lie in your resume, as I have said earlier. Okay, so hereby I have used the term hiking. So in hiking, what we'll do? We'll be climbing top mountains in a given time period, right? So this says that John Smith can complete a software project even though it is hard in a given period of time. So this hobby represents his character here. So make sure you add your hobbies which relate to your character or which say about your character. So this is regarding the hiking and photography also. So in photography, we take care of every minute detail, right? So he's trying to say to the interviewer that he can take care of every minute detail while he was working. And the next last hobby is nothing but cooking. In cooking, what we'll do? We will be trying out some different recipes, right? So this shows our creativity. So in the same way, he is saying that I'm a creative person. So even in the hobbies that you mentioned, they have to define your character. Okay, they have to define your character. Don't mention some useless hobbies. And you can see here inside all these resumes, there is no useless information. Every word, every letter that is present inside this resume is useful for the interviewer. And you have to follow the same. Don't write all the useless stuff in your resume to cover the space or to increase the length of the resume. So this is regarding the experienced person profile resume. And now coming to the freshers profile. So here what I have done. So freshers will be having some less experience. So what I have done is I have placed the education section at the first. So this says the interviewer that he is a fresher. So in the education section, I mentioned the same details. So if you have less marks, then you can remove about your marks. And you can see here, he's still studying. So because he's a fresher now, so John Smith is a fresher now. So he's still studying. So we are following the reverse chronological order here too. So he did not mention about his marks because they aren't came yet. So first I have mentioned about this education section, and then this John Smith has developed some mini projects. So engineering students will be having some mini projects in every semester, right? So we can mention about them in our experience section. So you can see here. So he's saying that he had developed a web-based task management application using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript during the third semester, and all the mini projects that he had done, and one internship that he had done. So even if you don't have any internship, then you can mention about your projects. Okay. So about all these things he mentioned in his experience. Okay. And then the skills. See, he is having better skills, and if you know only basics of some skills, okay, so imagine that he only know about basics of JavaScript, then I can open a bracket and I can write it as basics. Okay, it will be more professional and it shows your honesty also. Okay, so you can open a bracket and you can write the word basic if you know only basics in the skill, but make sure you know everything. Okay, so this is regarding his skill section. And about his awards or certification. So as I've read, he have mentioned about his certification from SkillCortex AI in data science, and he can say that achieve top performer recognition in hackathons, or else if you have achieved any good marks or a good rank in competitive exams, you can mention about that one too here. And then he mentioned about his hobbies, and his resume is complete. Okay, so this is the difference between experienced person profile and freshers profile. In experienced profile, we first kept the experience tag at the first, and then we used education, and then we used about projects, and then we used skills, achievements, and last hobbies. But here, education is at the first, experience at second, skills at third, awards or certifications at fourth, and hobbies at fifth. Okay, so this is how you can build a proper resume. So this brings us to the end of this video. So for more informative videos like this, subscribe to SkillCortex AI and hit that bell icon, and follow us on Instagram for day-to-day updates regarding some job updates, useful information regarding programming. For marketing students too, we'll be posting some useful information. So follow us on Instagram. So everything will be given in the description. And for free guidance session, you can register from the link below, or else you can scan the QR code. So the guidance session will be very useful for you, and it's completely free. So our team will guide you what to do. So don't miss out this opportunity, and see you in the next video.